Abhidhamma in daily life. Ashin Jana Ka Bi Vamsa. Translated and edited by Yu Ko Le. The author. Ashin Jana Ka Bi Vamsa Aga Maha Pandita Nayaka Sayadaw of Mahaganda Rama Monastery, Amarapura, Mandalaya Division. The boy who was to grow up to become a celebrated teacher of Pali canons and founder of the famous Mahaganda Rama Monastery of Amarapura, Mandalay Division, was born on Tuesday, the 14th waning day of Tabodwe 1261 ME, 27th February 1900, of Yu Zhao Ti and Dao On Hlein in Thayin village, Wetlet Township, Shiwebo district, Sagai division. In 1266, when he was 5 years old, he was sent to the local monastery and was initiated for the first time in accordance with traditional custom into the order of the Sangha as a novice, Samanera. 9 years later, in 1275, when he was initiated for the second time into the order, it was to spend his lifetime as a disciple of the Buddha in his dispensation. At the age of 18, in 1279 ME 1918, while he was still a Samanera, he passed the government examination at a higher level, Patamagi, which consisted of examination in the grammar, the Vinaya and the Abhidhamma and the Digha Nikaya. When he came of age, he was ordained a full-fledged Buddhist monk with the title of Yu Janaka on the full moon day of Tabang 1280 ME 1919. He had the distinction of being ordained thrice in his life, the second time on the full moon day of Nayan 1281 ME 1920, and the third on the full moon day of Tabang 1281 ME 1920. His preceptors saw to it that he studied under the best teachers in the two most prominent centres of Pariyati learning in Myanmar, namely Mandalay and Pakohuku. The advanced courses in the Pali Canon, the commentaries, sub-commentaries, exegeses and expositions were thoroughly learned from the most distinguished teachers of these centres, where he was afforded the opportunity of acting as a probationary teacher himself under their guidance. Thus, to pass the government Patamagiyao examination in 1287, standing first, and to gain outright success in the especially difficult Sakyasiha teacher course, the examination in 1289 for the title of Pariyati Sanahita Dhammacharya were for him just matters of routine. By that time he had already started launching his full-time job of writing books which were to be useful guides and manuals for his thousands of students, who later gathered round him till he passed away. He also wrote many small manuals for lay Buddhists who have no opportunity to study the teaching of the Buddha directly from Pali Canon. It was at the time when the rumblings of the World War II began to reach the shores of Myanmar, and the Japanese forces began to appear at the eastern border, that the Venerable Janaka B. Vamsa, who had already become a noted teacher and writer, began to settle down in his own monastery at Amarapura, about 12 miles southeast of Mandalaya. It was an old monastery called Mahagandarama, which belonged to his mentor, the first Mahagandarama Sayadaw. There were only 3 dilapidated buildings with 5 inmates, including himself, when he decided to settle down there and bring it up to be a prosperous monastic educational institution. That he had succeeded in his endeavour, even beyond his expectation, was evident by the fact that when he passed away in 1977, there were over 500 Bhikkhu disciples under his charge as residential students of Tipitaka, strictly following the Vinaya disciplinary code as laid down by the Buddha, and 97 monastic dwellings donated by devotees. He had managed to provide residential accommodation for all his Bhikkhu students and early morning meal for all of them. The midday meal was collected by the students by going on alms round. He was the first recipient of the title of Aga Mahapandita, the superior learned one, bestowed by the first president of independent Myanmar. For full 35 years between 1942 and 1977, he was intensely and incessantly active in the cause of purification and propagation of Sasana, conducting courses of instruction in Pitaka Pali, writing textbooks and sub-commentaries, and many religious handbooks for lay people. At the time of the 6th Buddhist Council, which was began in May 1954, he was busily engaged in various committees. As an advisor, Chatta Sangiti, Ovada Charya Samga Nayaka, as performer of various duties at the 6th Council, Chatta Sangiti Bharanita Raka, as an editor of Pali text, Chatta Sangiti Pali Pativishodhaka, and a reader of texts which have reached the final stage of redaction, Sanasodaya Pataka. Throughout all these years, while he was actively engaged in teaching, in administration of his fast-growing monastery, with attendant supervision of constructions and provision of accommodation and meals for increasing numbers of students, and attending to duties incumbent upon being appointed a member of many committees of the 6th Council, he never failed to continue writing books and managing their publication. He wrote in all 74 books, made up of 11 books on grammar, 14 books on Vinaya scripture, 14 books on Abhidhamma texts, 8 books on Suttanta Pitaka text, and 24 books on miscellaneous subjects dealing with all aspects of Buddhist teaching and Sasana. He managed to publish 50 of them before he passed away. He started writing books from the time he became a Thera of 10 years, standing at the age of 30, 1930, and continued to do so till 5 days before his death on 27th December 1977. He had great desire to help the Bhikkhu students of Pali Canon master easily the teachings of the Buddha, including their expositions in the commentaries and sub-commentaries. He also had in mind to give as much Buddhist education to the lay disciples who are incapable of devoting entirely to study of scriptures by writing popular books such as this one. For example, Abhidhamma in Daily Life. The last 10 months of the Buddha was another book written for the benefit of laymen. It was a strange coincidence that as the revered Sayadaw was coming to an end of his discourse on the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, Mahavagga of Digha Nikaya, and its commentary in December 1977, 11 months away from his demise, he started writing the last 10 months of the Buddha. It was also during these last 11 months that he compiled an autobiography, Tabbava Samsara, dealing with all aspects of his life, touching on his struggles, pains, hostilities, jealousies, triumphs, and above all on his metta, karuna, cetana for all beings with the greatest kindness for Myanmar people. He managed to complete his autobiography up to 13 days before he expired, the last gap being filled and completed by his devoted disciple Bhadanta Chandobasa. The illustrious author, the Venerable Bhadanta Janaka Vamsa, passed away after a short illness at the age of 87 on the second waning of Natal 1339 ME, 27th December 1977. A great loss for all Myanmar and the Buddha Sasana.